Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2M Net podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max, as this is episode 262, and here with me as always, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
I am your host, Sean Garmer, here with us this week, Jens Dietrich.
Always a pleasure, Sean.
Yeah, so, we mentioned last week that, these two guys are going to be playing Persona 5 Strikers, so that is one of the major reasons why Jens is on, because it's when Mark and Jens are both playing a game, there's always at least some fun things these guys will get into, or some banter that will happen. So there is a lot of news to talk about. If you guys have been living under a rock for some reason the last 2 days, we've had a State of Play, a Pokemon Direct, which may have been better than the State of Play, and some other stuff that also happened this week. This week was full of news, and then you tack on last week as well. Man, in the last 2 weeks, it has been craziness after we've had a little bit of it took a little bit, but we got there. And so we'll be talking about all those things, but might as well go ahead and get out of the way because I haven't been playing anything. So let's go ahead. You guys, how is Persona 5 Strikers? First of all, I guess my question is, how much do you feel it is important that you have played Persona 5? I mean, obviously, Royal is kind of excluded here because this was already in the way for Royal.
And they're excluding it themselves.
Yeah,
they are ignoring
it.
Yep.
So, how much do you feel like at all can you play this and get something out of it without having played the original Persona 5?
Don't bother.
Yeah, it'd be like playing Hyrule Warriors if you didn't play a Legend of Zelda game. Like, you're not going to get anything.
Okay. Well, that was short and sweet. I thought we were going to have...
I mean, more so even than... I mean, my understanding is that you can play Age of Calamity as a prequel, and it'll stand on its own somewhat.
Well, I know, I was going to say, you like that Fist of the North Star game, like that Yakuza thing they made, and, I know nothing of that franchise or that property, so if I played it, I'd probably get nothing, big out of it at least.
Well, but that's... Okay, that is not comparable, so...
Yeah, but that's not the same because, that's an anime... that you don't necessarily... that's a game that you can play that game as a game and not have to watch the anime.
Yeah, the Fist of the North Star game does a fairly decent job catching you up to the story and then giving you a new story all its own. So I think that game stands alone pretty darn well. The reason why this is just such a direct continuation of what Persona 5 was doing. And even though it's telling its own story, it's telling it in that kind of... You know how 80s movie sequels do the thing where they kind of repeat similar story beats where the structure remains the same but the particulars are swapped out? They do that to some degree. They riff on the concepts of Persona 5 in an interesting way. There's kind of a new angle on stealing people's desires and how the metaverse works and all that stuff. But none of that is going to have any resonance with you unless you've played Persona 5, and none of the character stuff, none of the banter or character development that is there will mean anything to you. Like when Yusuke goes on and on about, being a real artist in the second chapter of this game, and it's basically kind of a mirror version of his own story arc in the first game, that really works. Because you can see that how he has evolved, but then he's dealing with somebody who is in a similar situation that his mentor was in the first game. So you can kind of see that they're riffing off specific plot beats from Persona 5, and you're not going to get any of that.
Yeah, you need to play Persona 5, at least one of them, to get anything out of this game.
So, I'm going to use myself as an example. To be honest, I kind of played Persona 5 for a while. Mark was already reviewing the game, so I kind of took a step back and I had to start playing something else. At the time when the original P5 came out, we both Mark had the purchase version. I had, or did you get a code from Adam? I don't remember. But like,
no, I bought it.
Okay, you bought it. I had a code for us, and so like, I've only experienced Persona 5 completely through just the anime. So I know the basic, I guess, story that goes throughout the game, and that's
if you know
all I know.
If
like,
you've seen the Persona 5 anime, even though you've seen a protracted version of the story, you are caught up enough.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the general basic understanding down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, if you're not coming in with any knowledge of who these characters are, or their personalities, or, you know, how they... Because it's just a lot of... With these Persona spin-offs, a lot of it is leaning into the characterization and kind of giving you the fan service, giving you what you expect, but also developing it a little bit, but not in such a way that you really develop anything.
It's like story-based, like, sequels. Like, it's like when EA back in the day was like trying to go like, oh, Mass Effect 3 is a great starting point for new fans. It's like, well, it's not. It's called Mass Effect 3, you idiots. Like, but
the spin-offs, the Persona spin-offs are specifically like when anime series have like movies, and you know that it's going to be basically filler, or it's going to be something that's completely standalone because the movie cannot affect, you know, the main story of the series or the manga or whatever. And that's what a lot of those Personas, like Persona Q felt that way. Persona Q felt very flanderized, and like every, you know, like Chie would just be talking about meat all the time. This, I feel, sets itself apart from that. It really, from a like presentation standpoint, it is like 98% there, where you can totally just forget that you're not playing regular Persona when you're not in combat, because it's just such an accurate recreation. All the new designs, all the new cities and outfits and characters that they've added feel like they're completely off a piece with what Atlas had established before. And the writing is very sharp.
I guess that was my next question. You kind of went into it, was how much does this feel like a Musou game? Like you would, like, you know, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, you know, the Samurai Warriors 5 game that got announced like last week. And how much does this feel like a Persona game?
So, Mark Morrison left. Should we invite him back somehow?
Yes. All right, now that we got Mark back after mysterious allusions here of internet issues. Returning to your regularly scheduled program, how does this play out as different than how close is it to a Musou? How close is it to a Persona game?
So I haven't played the latest Hyrule Warriors game, which people say does a fantastic job of feeling like it's being like Breath of the Wild and emulating Breath of the Wild as much as possible. And that's what this game is going for. It doesn't have the territory control aspect of a lot of Musou games.
A good thing.
Which is a great thing. It doesn't have the kind of, oh, you're traversing this map back and forth over and over again. I mean, you are in the sense that you're doing different requests and going through the dungeons multiple times, but it doesn't feel like that push and pull that you get in traditional Warriors.
You're not in like Sector 4 and there's the enemies attacking in Sector 7.
No.
You hustle your ass out there.
The dungeons are much more, they're laid out like a traditional Persona dungeon, except they are more spacious because Musou battles have to happen in them. But other than that, they do a really good job of making you feel like you're doing, you know, a typical dungeon run in a Persona, and you're just kind of clearing the monsters out, you know, one mob at a time, you know, doing the thing where you surprise them from behind and ambush them. And then it has that whole layer of rock, paper, scissors, you know, all the different, what magic is one guy weak to or strong to, and the support skills and all that kind of strategy stuff on top of the Musou mechanics, which makes it a much more interesting game than most Musous that I've played. It feels like you have to, in your brain, constantly juggle the, like, I'm mashing buttons and dodging and playing an action game, and I'm going to pause and use my skills from my personas.
That's great. I mean, that's really intriguing as far as, like, making you feel like, okay, they didn't put the 2 on it, but they really tried to make it a sequel and not just, oh, it's a Musou game with a Persona skin on it.
Yep. And then when you're not in combat, it is, like, almost 100%. Like, they try and recreate. It's a little bit simplified, but they give you investigation sections where you have to go around and talk to people to find all the clues before you proceed with the story. They give you the, some optional kind of side conversations with your party, a whole bunch of, I guess, requests, which the requests I think are the weakest thing, because only a few of them feel like proper side quests. Most of them feel like, collect-a-thon nonsense. But we're still going to do all of them because they are a prerequisite for unlocking all the bonds. But it does have like a whole like bond system.
But it's not the same, right?
It's not. It's not you're doing social. So this is the thing
it's more of a group bond, not like a character by character bond.
Yes. It's basically, I think I've seen another Musou do this. I don't know if it was, Warriors All-Stars, where you basically have a giant tile of unlocks that become available over the course of the game, and you can put, points into them.
Fire Wars 4 does that.
I mean, yeah. Jens, you're further along in this game than I am. When does Lu Bu show up?
Well, I'm in a very like traditional like Japanese garden kind of dungeon at the moment, so I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get any China stuff. I don't think we will. But
I mean, he'll be like an optional boss.
I'm trying to. I mean, if it was Nobunaga, I could see. I mean, I guess we already have Nobunaga as a persona type. But yeah, what do you think, Mark? I feel like the only thing that's really missing is the social bond and the dating stuff.
That's hard to do in this kind of game.
I
know you do go on a date, though, on like some Ferris wheel, because I saw like a video of that.
Yes, there is. At one point, you can talk to one of your group, and you can go on a... There are actually a couple of... I think per area, per city, there is one person that you can go and talk to, and you do something unique with them out of your group. So, eventually...
But do you pick them, or it's just the one...
It's just like, this time you get to do something with Makoto, this time you get to do something with Anne. In each city, it's a different person. And they each have a side quest that involves food, where you have to get access to a special dish, which are, by the way, the missable side quests. So make sure that you do them before you leave the city, because while you can go back to a jail, you cannot go back to a city. Right. So do everything that you need to do before you leave to your next city. That's one of the most important things in this game if you want to platinum it.
I am a little mixed on it.
Really?
Not like in a bad way. I'm bad at the game, first of all. That's why I don't like that much.
It's not easy. Like, it forces you to really use your persona powers a lot and exploit as many weaknesses as you can.
And there are elements in the gameplay I don't understand.
Uh-huh.
So, like, an example is the first big boss is this, like, rabbit chick. And the first time I fought her, she killed me. I was, like, the main character. Mm-hmm. And I got her, like 3/4 down. And she did, like, some move that just, like, wiped me out completely. And, like, game over.
Mm-hmm.
And then so the next time I fought her, I screwed up, like, right at the start. I'm like, all right, I gotta, like, restart this fight. I'll just die again real quick. But, like, she killed the main character, and, like, I just swapped another character. And she killed that character, and I swapped to a third one. And I was like, what do I have to do to get a game over? Like, and then I was like, why did they get a game over in the first time? Like, because I still had characters alive then. Like, why didn't it just swap me to another character? So
are you sure that she did not wipe out the whole group?
Yeah, I'm very sure.
Okay, because I don't think this game ends when the main character.
No, it doesn't. Cause I've had the main character die in battle before, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that threw me. Yeah, I'm just not like I'm getting better at it, but I think the game is very like you have a gun, like just like Persona 5, but you barely use it because it's just not in a great spot to use it, really.
Aiming takes so long, and the window of opportunity for shooting something and getting the bonus on it is so short that I basically do not use the gun. But so here's Mark, I know you love the gun in Persona, and you were so excited about the fact that you could use the gun more before Persona 5 came out. But I guess Persona 5 had some wrinkles with the gun, even in the new...
No, Royal fixed it, yeah. I mean, but this game, like, you have enemies that are like, oh, they're only weak to gun. And it's like, okay, well...
Well, I mean, they're usually weak to technical.
Yeah.
And you can get technical damage.
No, I mean, like, they'll have, like, it'll be, like, in the menu, like, weak to gun, or, like, weak to gun and nuclear, or something like that. And it's like, well, okay, I mean, every character has a gun, so let's, instead of using, like, Makoto's skill, they just keep pumping around into this thing.
Yeah, if they're weak to gun, then it's not as much a... So, okay, the difference is that there are some enemies that you have to open up to being vulnerable, and then there are some enemies that are just weak to gun. If they're just weak to gun, just shoot at them, no big deal.
You're getting hung up on, like, just the gun aspect. It's not just that, it's like, I think the controls are too complicated, or, they're busy in this game.
There's a lot going on. And like, it's visually very busy, so just keeping track of everything.
I don't like the fact that, like, I feel like circle should be evade, and it's not. Like, it's like R2.
That's because we're so used to circle being evade in so many games.
But you know what though? I like R2 for evade because that's how Souls does it.
Well, that's not how regular games do it.
Circle and dodge in most games. So yeah.
I really like trigger for evade. I think it works well in this game,
especially because I'm spamming it all the time. Config.
I'm sure that. I mean, I could probably fiddle around with it. Also, I think the music is like very loud in the game. Like it's fine for a while, but like if you're in I don't like the dungeon. I'm only in the second dungeon. I hate the dungeon formula. I don't know if the other three or the more are like that, but
so the dungeon formula in this game is basically there is an introductory run through the first area with kind of a minor boss. Then you come to a roadblock, which then requires you to go to 2 or 3 other corners of the dungeon to perform a sub-objective to open up the roadblock.
That's Musou. That's Musou stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
I mean, they kept that.
But they had to like keep some stuff.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, but then what? If you want to give me a big sprawling, so do you just want something that's completely linear? I kind of like the hub area with the different sprawling kind of corners of it, and going out there and doing. I don't mind the sub objectives. I mean, it's not that different than in a regular Persona game. You know, doing sub quests and stuff.
Well, I guess I feel like in other Persona games, like it is more linear, and you feel like you're progressing forward. Like, I'm in the second one, and I feel like I'm getting lost a lot in the area because, like, I don't think the map is that good. Like, it should tell you how to get to, like, a specific area, but also, like, I just keep having to, like, run around this stupid bridge that's, like, folded up. And, like, after the 6th time of doing this, I'm like, all right.
I mean, the map is exactly the same map style as Persona 5, so are you saying the Persona 5's map is not good?
No, I think Persona 5's map, like, you're always moving forward. And in this one, you're backtracking, like, a lot.
That's true. Yes.
That's funny that Jens apparently doesn't get lost.
Yeah, I don't think that the dungeons in this game are not complicated. The 5th dungeon I just did is the most complicated dungeon, and that dungeon sucks because it has a gimmick where there's just portals that take you to different corners, and you have to kind of memorize how they connect with each other.
Well, that's just the spaceport in Persona 5.
Yes, it's exactly that, and you know how much I hate the spaceport.
And you know what I did with that? I looked at a map and it said, go 1, portal 1, turn 2, portal 3, you know, like...
The good thing, so there's like a thing where you have to go to different corners of that map to pray at shrines to unlock the next thing. And I just wandered around pretty much aimlessly, and I would just, every 10 minutes of wandering around aimlessly, I would just happen upon one of the markers, pray, and then keep wandering, because I could not be bothered to learn it.
Sounds fun.
But thankfully, that dungeon's over.
I actually like the combat quite a bit. I'm kind of surprised. I'm actually kind of surprised there's not like more of it.
I think it's great.
Like, there are only a few instances where you have, like, you know, hundreds of enemies coming at you. Most of the time it's like, you know, 10 or 20. That's about it.
Yeah, it's giving you a more typical... It's giving you a lot of...
to make you feel like...
Where it's like 2 big guys and a couple of small guys around them that complement each other. Right. And their abilities. You know?
It's still giving you the feeling of the Musou game, but not overwhelming you to the point where it's like, oh, okay.
Don't worry, you're going to get your Musou stuff. There are some later, I'm not going to spoil everything, but let's just say there are some sequences later on where it like Musou's the heck out of you. Where it like really gives you a long section.
That's fine, though. Like, I feel like...
Of course, that's what you're there for, in part, right? I mean, you still want the staples. You want the giant crowd control level, and you do get that.
But I think it's fine. Like I said, I just have like small issues with like the actual like nuts and bolts gameplay, and also how Best Buy screwed me.
Well, that's different. We need to talk about the peripheral dickery around this game.
Yeah,
but I would just say the balance of gameplay to cutscenes in this feels very close to real Persona 5.
Oh yeah,
and I don't think there's not enough. You're saying there are not enough battles. I mean, I feel like there's tons. I've had so many, especially if you're doing the quests and going back to the dungeons multiple times.
Not enough big battles. Like that's the qualifier. Like whenever you go back in the dungeon, like, you know, enemies respawn, but it's like, it's just the same 10 enemies or 20 enemies.
Here's the thing, though. You can go to pretty much any Musou game and get that. I like that this one like goes really far to try and like replicate and make you feel you're in Persona 5.
I also think I'm a little over level for the dungeon I'm in, but like that ambush thing wipes out any enemy I come across.
Ambush is great. But I mean, again, exactly like Persona 5, you know the feeling when you're like slightly over-leveled and, 70% of the enemies turn into trash mobs that you kill pretty much instantly. So I like that they're just trash mobs that you can kill pretty much instantly in this. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But
I don't like the Persona 5 or the fusion mechanic at all, though. I think they really nerfed it, or like it's just not important at all in this one.
I mean, it's still pretty darn important.
Well, I mean, it's just easier to just collect the masks. I mean, for higher characters, it'll be important, but like just like the
that's what I was going to ask.
There are going to be some personas that you can only fuse, and then of course you once again have the requests where you have to fuse particular personas with particular skills. So,
they still have the whole romancing the personas and all that stuff.
No, not at all.
But
No. Masks just like drop randomly that contain personas.
Yeah, but that's no different. You're picking up personas in the dungeon all the time in regular Persona. So, I mean, of course, you have to negotiate with them. They lost that.
That's what Sean is asking. Like, there's no negotiation at all. It's just...
the Persona romance. That's what you mean. No, there's no Persona romance.
Okay, yeah. That's just going to ask it. So it's just, the mask is there, you pick it up and you have it instead of...
Yes. But Persona Fusion is very much alive.
I also think... Just like trying to fill out...
Sorry.
Okay. Well, just like with regular Persona 5, there's characters I still get to use. Like Haru and Yosuke.
What about them?
I've yet to use them at all. Like,
Yosuke is
so how does the party system work? Because is it still like you have a certain number that you can have with you?
You can change your party at the checkpoints, and you can have up to 4 people active at any given time.
Okay. And so, like, is there a lot of checkpoints, or is it a few?
There's a fair amount. I mean, it's basically akin to the same room in Persona 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing is, you can bop out to the real world, and like once you do that, you instantly heal again, or you heal back to like.
Yeah, I have a complaint about that.
But then you'd have to start over, right?
No, because you can just you can warp right back to the checkpoint.
That's the funny thing about this. I was complaining to Mark about this, because on the one hand, it's a great quality of life thing that it turns the checkpoints into bonfires, essentially.
Right.
Where you are reloading, you're refreshing the monsters in the dungeon in exchange for filling your health and magic back up. So it's kind of a reset, but you don't lose your place in the dungeon at all.
Well, it's like a save point in most of Final Fantasies where they heal you and then you keep going.
But like you can even go back to the real world and like go back to the item shop and just start like stock up on everything.
But they make you go back to the real world. That's the thing. It's not, there's no real gameplay reason for it because there's absolutely no penalty for leaving the dungeon. So you can just leave the dungeon, refresh, and come back in. So why not just make it so I can just touch the checkpoint and refresh at the checkpoint? Why make me go through 4 extra load screens?
Well, what's the penalty?
There's no penalty. The penalty is that I have to go through extra load screens.
You said they make you do that, but they don't make you do that. You just you just want to do that because to get your health, your health back.
They make you do it. I'm saying, why can't I just get my health back at the checkpoint? The only thing you're doing is you're taking 4 clicks away and a bunch of load screens. So,
whenever I go back to the real world, I always like end up selling all the useless treasure junk and then buying more crap. So I actually don't mind it.
No, I don't like that. Like there's just absolutely zero reason to go back.
I know this is a PS4 game, but are the load screens pretty fast or?
Oh yeah, it's
faster than the Switch version. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. I
hear the Switch version has some issues.
That is going to be. I can't. I don't even want to know what the load times for that are on the Switch.
About a minute.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, this is a substantial. Like they got all the voice actors back. It's a substantial story. It's really well written.
They introduced some new characters that are pretty interesting.
As I said, the cop whose name I can't remember.
Zenkichi or
Zenkichi. Thank you. That was
that's where Jens figured out you weren't on anymore because he kept asking you didn't answer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Zenkichi has a really cool, and his daughter, they've got a really cool integral story arc.
I like how everyone is openly hostile to him, at least where I am. And it's a shame he passed away, obviously, for other reasons, but it's such a shame that Paul Walker isn't alive to voice that character, because it would have been hysterical.
Oh, whoever the voice actor is, I like him as is.
Sure.
I think the dub for this is really good.
Oh, They have new characters, but it's basically Persona 5. So
they got everybody back, and they did cool stuff like there's a Siri like.
No, that's actually the voice of Siri.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a Siri like AI in the game, and when you first hear it, you're like, that sounds like that. They really got a good sound alike, and it is not a sound alike.
It's Susan Bennett.
Yeah, so that's a cool thing, and really everybody's very good. It's just, man, the production is just top notch, A++.
Well, that's good. They kept that all in. So I mean, so other than the things that Mark brought up, is there any, I guess, drawbacks or any kind of issues that you would say are really? Is there anything really bad?
Well, my Best Buy issue, and then it's kind of a buggy game, as Jens can attest to.
Well, okay, I had one glitched request, and reloading it fixed it. But I did waste about an hour and a half running around looking for a thing that wasn't there. So
arguing with me about it as well,
and arguing with Mark, because Mark was reading the FAQ and being incredulous that I couldn't find it. But other than that, it's been rock solid.
Nope.
Yeah.
It hasn't been hugely buggy. The buggiest thing, the thing that ruined a couple of my nights just from unwarranted stress, and I'm a worrywart and a neurotic when it comes to these things. But this game basically came out early. That's why I'm so far along in it, is because the digital version basically had a early access release, like half a week early. And as part of that release, they turned the trophies off. Or the trophies were not even live. So while you were basically having Persona 5 Strikers trophies for that time period, broke your trophy syncing. So not only would the trophies not appear, like you could see them pop, and then they would be completely hidden until you went into offline mode and disconnected from it entirely. So again, trophies only show up in offline, and then when you're online, it won't even sync your whole trophy set anymore.
I mean, now it does, right? Because the game
now it does. And the funny thing is, everybody was kind of freaking out on release day
except for me,
except for you. Well, you don't care. But I saw so much freak out around the fact that it took them until like 7 p.m. that day for the trophy sync stuff to be resolved. So everybody who was playing the game and knew was having this weird issue where their trophies were not showing.
Yeah.
And we're, like, what's going on? And anyway, so that was scary.
I had a weird trophy that I showed Jens, and it popped up, and I forget what it was. I think it was like completed a dungeon or something, but it was like,
the text
percentage sign num, and then like 3 more percentage icons, and that was it. And I'm like, all right, like sure.
Yeah, that stuff was all really wonky. But and Best Buy screwed you out if you're. To be fair, though, normally when you place an order on Best Buy and you get the case with it, they will literally bundle it together and they will show you the case as an item. It seems like you did not do that.
No, I pre-ordered Strikers like 2 weeks ago from Best Buy. This is like after Atlas already said and Best Buy said everyone who pre-ordered will get a steelbook case. I only got the game, or only attached to the game. Like, it still had it for Switch, but not for PS4 or PS5, or PS4 really.
Yeah, so you were past the point where they had basically scaled down.
Yeah, but then I ordered it, and then immediately after, I contacted like Best Buy's chat line, like customer service, and I was like, "Hey, I'm supposed to get a steelbook case with this. Like, you guys say you don't have any, or the promotion's over or whatever, but I want my goddamn case." And the guy was like, "Oh, you'll be able to get it, no problem." And then I picked it up, and not only did Best Buy not have my case, they had no cases.
Well, yeah, the promotion was over.
No, I meant like people who were supposed to get a case at Best Buy didn't get it.
Yeah, but at the time that you ordered it, the website was not telling you that you were going to get a case.
It was telling other people who ordered it earlier than I did they were going to get a case.
Yes, exactly.
And they didn't get it.
Yeah, but at that point, okay, well, now...
That's because that Best Buy ran out of cases and didn't tell people.
So that is absolutely what happened. I'm just saying that by the time that Mark... Like, the ship had already, way sailed when you placed this order.
Except for Atlas's website still said you'll get a case.
Yeah. I mean,
that's on Atlas.
Atlas's message.
Yeah. But
anyway.
When I picked up my copy, I was like, "Hey, where's my case?" And they're like, "Oh, you didn't, it's not in your account. Just call corporate." I'm like, "All right, fine." And then they're like, "Oh, other people who came in who had the case attached to their account said they're going to get a case and they didn't get one." And they had no cases. Like, they didn't get any at that store.
I have seen a lot of people screwed out of cases that I feel have a better case, no pun intended, than you.
I don't.
Oh, Lord.
I still have a fucking cached image of their offer page saying, as long as you pre-order it by 2/23, you'll get.
Yeah, that's true. You can continue to make customer service a living hell, but
and
I don't know if that will generate more steelbooks. Is the question.
Well, I don't care where they get it. I don't care if they could buy a copy off eBay or
scalpers.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I really don't care where. And they actually, one Best Buy representative, like, we can refund you the steelbook case, like, price. And I was like, what do you mean price? Like,
it didn't have it came with the game. Like, I guess you could get $20 back if you wanted.
Yeah, they actually do have like a Best Buy, like a steelbook product page, but you can't buy the case from there, and they don't have any in stock anyway, so it's moot.
Anyway, it is a very pretty case.
Yeah, I just want to have to buy some eBay thing up for like $60 or whatever.
Well, maybe it'll show up.
That's what will basically balance the score for this game if I get that case or not.
Yeah. See, I just was not expecting. I've got to tell you guys, I did not think that I would ever consider a Musou game for Game of the Year list. Like, I'm loving.
But this is also not.
Yeah,
like,
but
totally Musou either.
Like,
not at all. Like
that, but also like it's the same thing as Yakuza. Like last year, like you didn't think that they could make a good Yakuza RPG, and hey, they did. Like
that's true. Yeah. That's true. This is a similar situation. I'm always pessimistic. I never expect things to be good.
You didn't think they could
I'm
make a good
glad
start?
that it's good because you guys are really hyped for this game, and it's always really terrible when you get super hyped for a game. One of you're most anticipated for the year, and then it's not anywhere near what you're hoping for. So
yeah. I try not to get too excited. Mark, what were you?
Look at like Star Wars, Fallen Order. Like you didn't think you'd like that, and
I can't believe you didn't. You were thinking you weren't going to like that. It's got some Souls gameplay in it.
It does. Some of the more Uncharted-y kind of things turned me off it early on. Man. And then I put it down, and then, of course, I picked it back up for the show and ended up really loving it. So, yeah, I sometimes get a bad first impression of something. It happens.
Speaking of that,
I generally keep my expectations low with stuff because, it's a freaking Musou game. I mean, I didn't know, like, that's like the thing that really blew my mind is just how much persona is in it and how much story it has. Like, just the amount of voice acting in this game, like, it's on the level of, I mean, I put it above Dancing All Night, probably. Scope of the story. Dancing All Night had a pretty substantial, that was like a 12-hour story. This is probably going to run to like 40, 50 hours before, Platinum.
A few reviews that I read, I think it 40. Took some people like 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, Sega wouldn't basically license Persona out to Koei if they were going to fuck it up. Like,
I
don't know, man. I mean, they fucked up properties before.
Yeah,
not really. I mean,
the important part is like that they showed a lot of love and try to keep it as close as they could to the property. This is probably the best recreation of. I mean, now granted, I haven't played I played Hyrule Warriors and I thought it was fun, but it still really felt like a Musou game. The Fire Emblem stuff as well has really felt like a Musou game. This may be the best interpretation of take a property, take their game, put it into Musou style, and then also it's still their game as well.
Yeah, the thing that really just feels the most like Musou still is just the core, combo system kind of mashy gameplay part of it. And but it's really refined. I mean, it feels really good. The characters are all very unique. It has the same level of refinement that you get with something like the One Piece games that we all like. Yeah. As far and giving everybody kind of unique moves and all that stuff's nice, but then you have that whole meta layer on top of it, and being able to completely. That just when you hold RB to bring up your persona powers, it completely pauses the game. Like it's not the game slows down. Like it's a pause, so you can play this like very strategically, where you take nice long breaks and think about what moves you want to use or what spells you want to use. And that completely changes the dynamic.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, I beat Control also finally.
Well, yeah, I beat Gravity Rush.
Like I beat
both clearing backlog.
I beat that like the day before Persona 5 came out. I'm like, I gotta finish this tonight or I'm not gonna finish it at all.
Same. I was rushing to finish Gravity Rush in time before the Persona 5 unlock at midnight that night.
I still need to do the same for East 9 so I can write the review and play Bravely Default 2. So I downloaded it and it's there.
I know you were very excited for me to have opinions on Bravely Default, but I think it's going to be a while before I even get to boot it.
That's fine.
Like, I'm buying it now because I know it's not going to go down in price anyway because it's a Nintendo platform game.
Well, it's a Square game. It might. Octopath will go down.
I mean, 2 years from now, like it'll go down, but
yeah.
No, they might go on a sale for like 45 or something.
It's possible. Anyway, I bought it, but I've got lots of stuff ahead of me before I can play it. I need to play it before the end of the year, though.
That's fine. Yeah. Right.
But I'll be excited to hear what you think.
Yeah, I'm excited to play it and have fun with it. Also, an exciting thing that I was very happy to watch this morning for work, the Pokemon Day or pre-Pokemon Day Direct. They're also having the Post Malone virtual concert on actual Pokemon Day. Supposedly there's going to be some special surprise at the end. I'm thinking that's more of like Pokemon movie stuff or Detective Pikachu 2 stuff, not necessarily game related, but we'll see. We'll see when that actually happens. The three major things came out of this Pokemon Direct. First of all is getting a lot more look at, a lot bigger look at Pokemon Snap. The new Pokemon Snap, I should make note of here. You got to see a lot of the region, the different environments where the Pokemon are in. I love the fact that there's a grading system based on how different the Pokemon's turn, whether the Pokemon's turn around, whether they're looking at the camera or not, whether they're doing a maneuver or doing something. So I love the fact that there's a judging online mode. So it basically became Pokemon Instagram or whatever. So, I think that's going to get a lot. I mean, that could be the next, big thing that gets a lot of use on Twitter is people come grade my picture, and then go and actually do it in the game. So that's going to be, that's a nice twist on the whole, hey, don't have to go to Blockbuster or GameStop or whatever. Just do it right there online. So, nice to see Nintendo embrace that because they could have just not had online stuff at all. I really like I don't know if I'm going to rush out and get it, day one. It depends on what's, going on around that time and everything, but I'm definitely happy that it is around. It's there. And, April 30th, I'm sure that will be a huge seller for Nintendo. But the two bigger, deals, obviously, is for a long time been rumored that because it's the 15th anniversary of Diamond and Pearl, we were going to get remakes. And of course, the rumor mill started around that, oh my god, they could be Let's Go games, which would make me not care, because I do not like the gameplay loop of the Let's Go. I'm not a Pokemon Go person, so I don't want to be catching millions of Pokemon so I can level up my Pokemon. That got old for me really fast. Even playing with Anaya and getting the fun part of her throwing the Pokeball and all that stuff, that's fun, but when I'm catching the same 20 Rattatas so I can level up one level for my party, no thank you. I'd rather just cream them in 2 seconds in an actual battle and move on, so that's just me. I'm an old geezer, I guess. Everybody if you're listening and you would like Pokemon Go, you probably feel completely different. So it is what it is. But, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are what the games are called, which, goes off of every time they have those remakes, they have some kind of different name, different from the originals. And a lot of people apparently didn't like the art style. I don't know if you guys saw this at all. I
have not.
They have a chibi art style that kind of looks more like the DS titles than looks more like, instead of looking like, what they could look like on the Switch with how Sword and Shield looks, or even the, last, what was it, X and Y and the ones after that. So I don't have a problem with it. I thought it looked fine. I don't think that you need to go totally out of they weren't ever going to bump it up to Sword and Shield levels. Because then you're talking about a complete like big time remake, and that's a lot more work. And let's be honest, Pokemon's basically annual franchise at this point, and they have no reason to stop doing that. And so this is kind of like the in between, right? Because they could have just brought it over, and it looks a lot more like the 3DS version or DS version, but they still bumped it up some. So to be honest, I don't have any kind of relationship with Diamond and Pearl. That's when I kind of fell out with the Pokemon games because I didn't have a DS for a long time. So Diamond and Pearl, I didn't come back in honestly until after Black and White 2, and I skipped all that. I skipped Diamond and Pearl, Black and White 2. All that I skipped. So this would be kind of new for me to play this, whenever, I'm sure it's like November area for Pokemon. So, that's late 2021. That's usually when they come out. It's like the middle of November. So you can pretty much guess that'll be the release window. The biggest thing that was announced was the big surprise of finally an open world Pokemon game is happening. It's called Pokemon Legends Arceus. The C sounds like a K. So they showed off the old Sinnoh region before it's like built up to what it looks like in Diamond and Pearl. The Pokeballs still do Pokeball things, but they're not as, spiffy as they are later. And it's open world. They even did the Breath of the Wild shots as well, if you kind of noticed. So this is coming early 2022, but the cool thing is like Sinnoh has a lot of like Pokemon history stuff in it too. So this is kind of like the best region to do this in, to try to see if this can work. I just really like the fact that it's there. There's your Pokemon. You're walking around. Finally, what everybody wanted, and you got a little bit of teasing it with Sword and Shield in those wild areas, but if they can really pull this off, interesting that they didn't make it, now this is considered a mainline game, but they didn't make it like, the next in the series or whatever. It's a spin-off, because I think they want to really see, does this gain traction to the point where they could finally let the other Pokemon, the normal Pokemon games, go this route. And I really hope that this works, and I really hope that, obviously, we're going to see if the Switch can hold up, because in some of the pictures, maybe we're starting to see the age of the Switch. A lot of people are, I think people are wishing more than what's really going to happen. I think people are like guesstimating that we're also going to get between this and like Breath of the Wild 2. They're going to come around the same time, like within months of each other, and then they're going to also have the Switch Pro, and this is all going to be a launch window for the Switch Pro. I don't know about that.
I really hope I hope a Switch Pro never comes out. I'm tired of hearing the stupid rumor.
I think it's going to come out. I just cannot imagine you have a PS5 and an Xbox Series X existing, even the Series S existing, and you're never going to come out with a beefed up version of that thing that can at least do 4K, even if it's upscaled.
I don't think they care. I think when they make a new console, it'll be something like different.
No, I definitely think they're going to iterate on the Switch because they don't have another portable. Like, I don't know. What else is there? Like, they found the perfect thing to do. Like, this is the thing that people wanted the Wii U to be, and they did it with the Switch. They could possibly just do the Switch and then also do another new console if they wanted to, and then have both. I don't know. I just don't know where. Nintendo's great at innovation. I'm sure they will absolutely slap me in the face of whatever new thing that they do. But I'm just saying, I don't know how much more you can do after this.
Virtual Boy 2.
Yeah. Can you think of Jens? I can't think. That's, you've gotten to the magnum opus now of.
I just don't think they're competing. I don't think they're competing in the same stage.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I don't think that's the thing. I don't think.
I know, but this eventually
they don't need
hampers
4K.
the games you can make, though.
I think they need more power, and they need to get more ambitious as far as the general technology. But I don't think they need to go. They're not going to approach what the PS5 and the Xbox
no, they're not.
Series X are
but
doing.
They could still do 4K,
and why do you want
more
upscaled
power? And
what does upscaled 4K give you if you're not increasing the detail in the image itself. Like 4K is just kind of a nice, like, extra layer of sharpness.
Mm-hmm.
But Nintendo games don't need them. Don't need it.
Yeah, what really matters is how well you can get the art style across. And hopefully performance. Like, I really would want to cut down on, load times and all that stuff.
Speaking of that, Bowser's Fury had some, like, nasty slowdown in it.
Oh, yeah. So just the, frame rate, way more important than resolution, for instance.
No, definitely. They needed to improve with that. But I think that's the thing, though. It's like people want the Pro to to be able to see that same difference you're seeing between PS4 and PS5. Not in necessarily how much more, but in the, where you're, okay, I'm meaning more of like, can we get to the point, can we get to the point of the Switch in handheld mode be 1080p and on TV go a little bit further? Like, cause I think it's a real, at some point, like you need to do something where you're running smoothly as far as the game goes. And also like, you're not feeling like you're holding an old tablet sometimes. Like, sometimes the difference between playing something on handheld and putting it on the dock is a big difference. And that's something they need to cut down on too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're not even you're maybe going to have a 10, 15% like improvement as far as processing if it's just a little
Well, I mean, they're going to move up to the next chip of whatever that is, whatever the NVIDIA Tegra mobile chip.
Okay. Well, if it's the question is this a whole new console, or is this just a slightly more powerful
It'll be the
Switch?
second one. Yeah, it'll be that stupid, like, new 3DS thing, and they'll make 4 games for it, and that's about it.
So I guess the hardware upscaling makes some sense then for the old games.
I mean, that's the thing too, is like, maybe they're delaying this because they're starting to think about what you're saying, Jens. Like, is it worth it for us to come out with a Switch Pro, or do we just come out with a Switch 2?
Yes. Yeah, just jump ahead to something. You're still not going to be anywhere near the current.
No, you're not. I mean, they could,
consoles, but maybe you could do something that was like a 1X.
Well, if you want to buy like a $700 Switch, they could, but they don't want that, or they never want that.
Well, yeah.
1X is cheap now, so the question is just, can that be compressed to a handheld? That level of power, I mean.
No.
No.
Okay.
I mean, not without the, like, dock doing a lot of work. I mean, right now the dock doesn't really do anything.
I mean, like, the current iPhone is comparably powerful to, like, an Xbox One X, but, like, that's $1,000. So.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, so that's going to be a weird thing whenever they pull the trigger on that, whatever they're going to do.
Randy's trying to convince me that I need to get some sort of a plug-in so I can play that Final Fantasy thing on my iPhone.
It's a trap.
Yeah. Like, I need to be able to hook a controller up to my iPhone so I can play, it's Infinite Crisis?
Ever Crisis.
Ever Crisis.
Gotta love their naming convention, huh?
Yeah.
That's Square for you. But
that's why they're currently the number 1 company in the world, huh?
Mm-hmm. But you could see that game could run on the Switch, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, like, it could. I mean, they got that Final Fantasy 15 Pocket thing to run on the Switch, so why not?
Yeah. I mean, that's an Android game. Of course they could.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm now starting to question. Well, I guess I haven't really looked into the iPhone 12. I guess it's the current one. I'm still on the 10. It doesn't feel that fast.
I mean, they're coming out the 13 this year, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's all moot. So.
It's all what it is. But before we get to talking about anything involving Final Fantasy, let's talk about Grammarly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mark, yesterday, Randy mentioned to me that you hold the record for the most reviews, with 75 reviews altogether.
Go me.
Yeah, that's a lot of Grammarly that I've had to use.
Yeah,
editing Mark's reviews. So.
Yeah. I've just been thinking, like, okay, poor Sean. I hadn't really even thought about that. And, we're lucky in a way, you and I, Mark, in that we have Sean as an editor to make sure that we don't mess up. But
at least my stuff is mostly well written. There were some early reviews that were, let's say, a tad more shaky.
Yeah.
Well, I think regardless of whether you have a Sean in your life, and I personally don't feel like I need much editing myself, but still, wouldn't it be nice sometimes to have the invisible hand of an editor to guide you as you're writing?
Exactly. That's exactly how Grammarly feels, because you can do that when you're writing an email, when you're just on Facebook, on Twitter, or, editing full-on reviews like I am. It's, and the cool thing is, you don't even have to necessarily pay big bucks to get, like, a guide in improving your writing, because I've noticed that myself, and that things that it would correct me on, I start noticing on my own as I'm writing. So I don't need it to tell me. I already know, but it's cool just for someone that, maybe you're starting to go back to school, or you are in college and you're having to do those papers. Man, that saves you a lot of time. Stuff that spell check ain't gonna catch for you. Grammarly does.
And how much brain power do you really want to expend on writing, generic work emails? Can speed you up quite a bit.
Exactly. I mean, that and the sentence complete or whatever that Gmail has now. That's pretty great. But, we have, if you, as a person that listens to Video Games to the Max, and of course we're part of the W2M network, if you go to www.getgrammarly.com/W2M network, you can enjoy our free offer. So, download Grammarly. It even works in your Word doc. You can put it as a browser extension. Mm-hmm. So I use that all the time, and it's part of an extension on Chrome for me. So if you don't use, I don't really know who doesn't have Grammarly at this point, but if you don't use it, you definitely should. And use our free offer, because help us, why not?
Yep. That's a good question.
But let's get out of talking about correcting our grammar. I wish they had a voice corrector, maybe to improve.
Oh, it'd be so good. Just to ensure that when I'm speaking, I'm succinct.
That's the next step.
I got to cut down on the grandiose verbosity and the extraneous adverbs and not get trapped in run-on sentences.
That would help all of us. So Sony did their state of play as well, which would really be the lead if Pokemon didn't do their thing today. So this thing, I felt like, well, for me, there was a lot of games that I liked that were in this thing. I know I saw the consensus online was, this was kind of a bummer, whatever. How did you guys feel?
It was short. This thing was like a half hour long.
I wouldn't say 30 minutes. 30 minutes is like what these things should be, not 50 like the direct from last week. But, is there something that we'll talk about the big thing at the end here. But from the other stuff that's not Final Fantasy related, was there anything that maybe I didn't have like a big care for this, and I watched this and I go, oh man, now I'm excited? Or
Returnal still looks cool, and Oddworld Soulstorm still looks like a disaster.
What looks disastrous about it, Mark?
It's an Oddworld game.
Well, but that is just par for the course. I have friends who are very excited. Like I feel about Oddworld like they're not for me.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. I don't want to shit on the game. Like, I think the character's cool, and like the basic setup is interesting, but like playing those games is, I think, terrible.
Okay, so your complaint about it is that it harkens to the formula that fans of the series know and love.
Yeah, like the very cheap deaths. Like, they even showed that in the trailer. Like, oh, if you climb up this thing, you can get knocked off by a car. And it's like,
that's not cheap. It's old school.
Yeah, and that's why they haven't made an Oddworld game in like almost 2 decades.
I'm telling you, people, this is what people want.
There is a reason why it's on PS Plus, I feel like.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
they say, Mark's been trying to tell me about this ridiculous rumor that Kena Bridge of Spies is supposed to come, or was supposed to come, to PS Plus before it got delayed to August. And that just seems insane.
That was a picture that someone made, and I don't know if that was legit or not. So, we shouldn't.
I can't imagine that it is legit.
Yeah, no.
They could have, right? It's an exclusive game. That and PC, but
it just seems way too nice to be the next Bugsnax, But
no, it's a real game.
I also feel like, let's be honest. So far they picked 3 games that. Bugsnax got all this, hoopla about the name and everything else, but there are people that really like that game, and there's also people that really hated that game, or just didn't like it. So, I feel like, so far, the PS Plus inclusions are not necessarily something that you go, oh wow, I've really got to have this game, it's a game I really enjoy, Destruction All-Stars got nowhere near the buzz that, it's not the next Rocket League, it's not the next, whatever. That thing was talked about for like 2 days, and I haven't seen anybody talk about it after that. And
that's why Oddworld makes sense for it, but Keynote is not.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, right now, we still haven't, it feels like PlayStation Plus is it's almost like their Game Pass of, well, we know we may not get $70 out of people for this game, but if we put it in PS Plus, they'll play it, so.
Well, I won't be playing Oddworld, I must admit.
I'll try it, and then I'll get frustrated within 10 minutes and then stop playing it.
Yeah, it'll just be a blight on my trophy list, because I'll never finish it, so why bother?
Oh, I'll definitely do the same thing like Mark. I'm going to try it, because Oddworld has always been one of those things that, like, I really like the setting, I like the characters, and I go, man, I want to play this game, and then somebody tells me, oh, you're probably not going to want to play this.
Yeah, and then you play it, and it's like a weird dialogue-driven Lemmings clone, and it's like, wait, this is terrible. Like,
okay, I think everyone's feelings on Oddworld are pretty clear. Yeah. How about that Solar Ash?
Oh man, Solar Ash! I am so excited for Solar Ash now after I watched this trailer. Like, I love the fact that it is fast and it runs a lot of the pathless that way. Like the way just you move, you're like going through and killing things quickly, and then they had the big dragon at the end that like makes you like excited for when you get to the big boss battles. Like I love the colors, all that stuff. I mean, I really enjoyed Hyper Light Drifter. But this game, just, man, I can't wait.
It looks like a great kind of perfect run game where you just really want to optimize your every turn that you're taking.
I also feel like I'm going to get stuck being like, oh man, I missed that pink thing. Let me go back and get it.
Yeah, I love the art style. It's really neat.
I agree. That Heart Machine did a great job. I feel like we're not the only ones. There's a lot of people that saw Solar Ash, said, it's a successor to Hyper Light Drifter, okay, cool. And then they really, I think, improved a lot of making people want this game. And I think the same thing for Returnal. Like, I'm not a roguelike person like Mark, but man, and I wasn't too sold on that game, but man, that trailer, the way what they showed, and I love the fact that you go in that house and explore stuff. I love that there seems to be like 3 different things going on, and I'm totally down for that. I don't know if I'm paying $70 for that, but yeah.
I don't know about either of you guys. I think I hate Deathloop now.
Explain. What turned you on it? I was never interested in it, as you know.
I mean, I guess initially it seemed kind of interesting, but like the more they show that game, especially the gameplay they just show, it looks like a bad Rage 2 clone.
I love the trailer though. Trailer's good.
Mixed with Dishonored bullshit, like the blinking, and I'm like, that turns me off. And then the whole like sense of humor of the game.
I mean, that's what turned me up from the start.
It's like worse Borderlands, and it's like,
those are harsh words.
Yeah. I think the concept of like, one guy's trying to break the loop, and like there's another player trying to like save it is kind of interesting, but that's about it. And that's not enough for me to play it.
I just wonder if that premise is stretched to a full length game.
I'm still
and also that
convinced.
I actually don't like that song they have like playing it.
I liked it. It was the James Bond. It's their James Bond song.
I got enough of that with Metal Gear Solid 3. Like they did a better version of that in that game. So
I mean, Snake Eater is better than a lot of Bond songs.
Yeah,
so it's difficult to compete with that.
Having a worse one of those doesn't exactly inspire me to like play it. Like,
well, yeah, but you get that kind of pastiche often in things.
I mean, it also kind of.
I thought the music was kind of cool.
It reminded me. This is damning of the game. It reminded me of We Happy Few.
Oh no!
Lord,
okay, there's where you got all your We Happy Few trauma got dredged.
Well, it's just like the aesthetic of the world. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like, it's kind of going for like a deliberate, like a retro look.
One like trippy look too.
Yeah.
Speaking of a deliberate retro look, what do you guys think of the Sifu?
Oh, Sifu! I'm loving it. Like I didn't play Absolver, but I like the fact that it looks like this is just from my perception. I haven't read a press release or anything, but like it seems that you're gonna go through like stages of life with him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still gonna be kicking ass even when he's old, and that's gonna be cool. Like, or I can't imagine it has to do with how many times you die. So
I hope it does. I hope you can only die like 30 times and that's it. And you're too old to fight.
Yeah, I wonder how much story there is to this. Whether or not this, for me, I think depends on how good the combat engine is. But Absolver, is pretty beloved in regards to its gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that you can actually really see the characters on like Absolver. So
true. But I like just the. I realize that it doesn't really look like a next gen game, but I do like the shading and it feels like a more higher detailed version of the Virtua Fighter art style.
Yeah, I like that art style too. Thought it was good.
Yeah,
it's just from being a game we didn't know anything about to showing it. I thought they did a good job in selling you on that too. And of course, can't not mention Kena Bridge of Spirits, one of the games I've been super excited about since that.
My most anticipated game for sure.
Yeah,
out of
since the June
next gen stuff. Mm-hmm.
I love the combat. Sold me for sure. Like I'm loving that combat with the wand thing, and then the cute little spirits that are apparently going to follow you around and stuff. So
it reminds me a lot of Horizon for some reason.
Yeah, well, there's that too, especially when she uses the bow and arrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say when she pops that thing, I'm like, wow, that looks exactly like Horizon, actually.
I always love a bow.
Yeah, I'm good. Who knows? I'm excited to see what they actually do. Is it like a Pikmin thing? Is it like the Higgledies from Ni no Kuni 2 where they help you fight? I mean, it's their purpose, I guess, in existing. So
I keep wanting to call it Kena Bridge of Spies every time I'm writing it down.
On to the big event.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously they didn't do it as one more thing, but their last thing that they showed, and not talking about Crash, that game already came out. So I mean, it's cool that Crash is basically getting the same thing as Final Fantasy VII Remake is, and it comes out like within a couple weeks now. So I'm sure Randy will try it again, and it will work great. So gives me a reason to maybe finally buy it with that version. So Final Fantasy VII Remake was the big game that was shown off at the end. And of course, because it's Square, you can't just call it Final Fantasy VII Remake updated or, just say this is the updated version. They have to have a name.
You have to make up a name. You have to make up a word.
Intergrade.
It is a great word, though. I love that word. Intergrade.
So it's called Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and you get a special episode starring Yuffie.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah. And,
Randy was freaking out about it.
I love the fact that Yuffie is in this because obviously, she also got a lot of attention from Kingdom Hearts as well. So you get to use that in there, which I think this helps because there's a lot of people that maybe only know her for Kingdom Hearts that see that she's in this game now and go, "Oh man, I want this." But
because she was an optional character in original Final Fantasy VII. So.
Well, but I like the fact that this is what Remake is perfect for, is give me background on shit that I would have never thought of. They've been talking about Wu-Tai the entire fucking time you're playing that game. Oh, great! Mm-hmm. Now, I get to know what the hell was going on with Wu-Tai and all that stuff while you're still in Midgar. So, you're not like getting pieced out versions of the other parts of the story. I don't know how much detail they're gonna go into Yuffie here, but at least this is still running concurrent with what you played already. So I don't have a problem with that at all. I know there's people complaining about that they didn't ever want there to be DLC to this thing. They just wanted parts. Of course, there's people they didn't want parts at all, but also they're being unrealistic because it would have been until 2030.
It doesn't matter because
part one.
When it's all done, it'll all get packaged into some super deluxe edition anyway.
And this is also why they didn't call it part one, is because there's probably going to be, until there is a substantial part 2 that's going to come out, you're going to get stuff like this.
Yeah, Final Fantasy games, these games are going to be brought forward forever. And on the next generation after this one, there'll be, Final Fantasy VII Remake complete. And we don't have to worry about how it came out initially.
Yeah, it'll be like GTA 5. Let's keep rolling over. The PS6 will have it, and then PS7 will have it as well, likely.
Yeah, there's a lot of angry people that are mad that the Yuffie is not on PS4. I think to be fair, by the time we get to June, there's more of a chance that there will be more PS5s available. With the pandemic hopefully, starting to phase out a little bit more by then. You'll be able to ramp up more production on these things, and perhaps we'll finally figure out a way to lock out the damn scalpers. Who knows if that ever happens, but I do feel like they'll be approaching to want you to have more in-store stuff. So you may be able to go to your store and find it instead of having to do these, online queues and all this other junk. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you need to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that stuff. Listen, Sony wants you to buy a freaking PS5. And also, like, do you really want them to be hampered by the PS4 when they've got a whole new part to make for this next, whenever that comes out? Like, that's the thing is, okay, let's say that they perhaps planned on 2 DLCs, or there's a DLC coming in 2022. Do you really want that thing to be stuck on PS4 as well? Like,
I hope that they do make another DLC. It'll let you Vincent in a box for like 4 or 5 hours.
That does give them the ability to just do Vincent as the next DLC, but he's also the main character, I think, in Ever Crisis. So we'll see how that rolls. But of course, you're also getting all the stuff you normally get with these PS5 upgrades. Which, man, I'm excited. I'm definitely playing this when it comes out June 10th.
Hey, man, the PS5 has graphics. Who knew?
Well, yeah, but it looks freaking awesome.
I mean,
you'll be able to tell better on the 4K on TV.
Some of the dumbass like language with that trailer was like PS5 graphics, and it's like, no shit. Like,
yeah, the graphics mode or the performance mode or whatever. It's just I like that there's a photo mode in there too, so that's kind of cool. I love the fact that there's the normal classic mode, which I think that was needed, like when the game released, to let you play the actual regular difficulty of the game in classic mode instead of like dumbing it down for classic mode. So I actually may try it out this time, even though I really like the game the way it was, but it does give you an incentive to try that out, the more slow turn-based version of the game. So there's that. Jens, I don't know, are you excited about this upgrade?
Of course.
Stuff, or?
I've been holding off playing Final Fantasy again, thankfully, so I'm not burned out on it anyway. I've just got that initial playthrough where I didn't really even do 100% of it. Mm-hmm. So always a good excuse to go back. I don't know if it's going to do a Neo and transfer your existing trophies over.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about trophies, but it will copy your save over.
But if you don't get the trophies also, then you really would want to restart and get them all over again. That's the question. Are we going to earn them all over again from the beginning? But
here's a radical thought. Don't care about trophies.
Either way.
I definitely think that they're already showing up on your system from that game. So.
It depends. I mean, they've kind of broken them out into different SKUs, So it would have to have a transfer process like Neo does. But anyway, regardless of whether that happens, I think it's a great excuse to just play through that game again.
Yeah, I mean, definitely to see it in all its glory, I think it's going to be the cool stuff.
Some of those bigger battles in that game were like not great in the PS4, like at least the basic one. So
I mean, what matters is the door now will hopefully not look like back in PS1.
They can give us super high res door textures. That alone will make it worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's the thing. It's just I was hoping that we would get an announcement for this. The adding the UP stuff is a nice surprise, and then also if you don't have the game on PlayStation 4 yet, you can get it for free on PS Plus.
But not the good version.
Along with Farpoint, Remnant from the Ashes, which Mark loves and
Jens' favorite game.
And Maquette, which was a just total puzzle game that I was thinking about asking for a code, and then it shows my PS Plus, so there's that. So here's the thing with the Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PS4 version. You do not get the PS5 upgrade for getting that version, so you still have to buy the PS4 version before the game comes out, or buy it completely on the PS5 for $70. So,
yep.
A lot of people complaining about this. a lot of complaining about this here. And I don't know, guys, I'm going to let you guys give thoughts first, because I just thought there was a really simple way to solve this problem, but
My two thoughts are they want you to pay for it. They're not dumb. And my other thought is look at what's coming to Xbox Gold for March. There is no comparison.
Well,
what is coming to Xbox Live Gold for March?
Warfare. Okay, listen. Games for Gold is like it's like seriously. I mean, they did decent stuff last month. This month, I don't know what the hell this is.
So I'll go through it. The Xbox Gold games from March are Warface, Breakout, which I never heard of. The obvious big winner or big game is Vicious Attack Llama Apocalypse.
See, you know what this is? This list of games you're giving me? This is like when the bar plays closing time at the end of the day, so to get people out.
Yeah. Metal Slug 3, which
hey, I like
Metal Slug is fine.
3, don't hate it.
Yeah, I'm not going to crap on that, but like that's an old game. Like, I mean, that's like a Neo Geo game. And Port Royal 3, which I've heard I've heard of that series vaguely, but I don't know anything about it. But even if you discount a Final Fantasy VII Remake, like even if that was off the table for March, Remnant and Marquette are still way better games.
Yeah, I mean, Marquette's going to be cool. It's a puzzle game made for the PS5, so, you know.
Do you like Tropico, Mark?
I like the idea of it, but as a city builder, I suck at it.
Yeah, so that with pirates.
Yeah, I'm good.
Nice. And Farpoint's a pretty decent VR game. That's one of the games that I actually played pretty lengthy part of before I stopped doing stuff on PSVR. So I would recommend that as well. For the update, you should be able to buy, if you do get on PS Plus, they should give you a discount, half off or something, if you want to upgrade it to the PS5 version. Okay. So, and that's fine. I think the thing is, people are forgetting that PS Plus doesn't mean that you bought the game. As soon as you no longer subscribe to PS Plus, you don't get to play any of these games. Yeah, it's basically a rental copy or a leased copy to your, account. Yeah, it's you just think of it as free because you're paying the $60 a year and then you don't pay for anything else that you get on this PS Plus, and that's fine, but it doesn't mean you're entitled to an entire free game and a free upgrade. And that's the thing, I saw this one person that loves to be negative, every time you, you get excited about something. I'm not gonna mention his name, because. Jim Sterling? Huh? Jim Sterling? No, not Jim Sterling. That's a different deal. I'm talking about someone else that's his thing on Twitter, apparently. But, also has my name. But I'm just saying, it's an easy fix. This game goes on sale regularly for $30. Every time Sony has a sale, this game is included. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the time you get to June, that game is also down to $20. So, you can't spend $20-$30 for this game, and then guess what? You get it for free, and then all you gotta do is, like everybody else, pay for Yuffie. So, again, I totally understand the PS4 people being mad that the Yuffie is not on PS4, cool, whatever. Understand that they don't want to be hampered by the PS4 going forward. So that's just one of the things that happens when you make it, it's just like Destiny. At some point, Destiny had to stop being on the 360 and PS3. Same thing with a lot of these other games that keep going forward. That's gonna happen. Sorry it happened the first chance they got, but it's what it is. I'm not saying this is somebody, cause I already have a PS5 and whatever. Yeah. I was gonna say, I think there's a flaw in your argument though, because I think if you attach a game for PS Plus, it takes away the option to buy it. No, they removed that now. Okay. That is not the case anymore. That used to really bug the heck out of me. They actually show you a difference. You can get it for PS Plus, and they'll show you, or here. They have done a much better job organizing Game Pass the store. Does. Yep. All right. The way the store is broken out by version, PS4 version, PS5 version, and also where you acquired it. It has a whole set of filters around that stuff now. It's so much better. Yeah. It is absolutely I agree. It used to be really crappy where you couldn't even see the price of what it would cost normally if you wanted to buy it separately. It just showed purchase, and it's okay, this sucks. But I agree with you, Mark. If that was the case, then yeah. But I still think also if you know that PS Plus this is why they're telling you ahead of time, right? You still have a couple of days before this goes live. You buy this version, says it it's in the fine print, obviously, but you buy this version, you're not getting the PS5 version. So make sure you go, if you don't want to get this PS4 version, go buy it on the store, or you can just pay $70 for some reason and buy the whole, you get Yuffie for included. So, yeah, or you can just buy the whole thing with Yuffie included for $70. So, and that makes me wonder, is Yuffie gonna be $10 or is Yuffie gonna be more separately? So,
probably 10, yeah. It depends how long it is. I mean, it seemed they were reusing a lot of assets, so I actually...
Well, I mean, it's in the same...
Yeah, so...
Like, Midgar, so, I just like the fact that exists, that they did that, like, and I have no idea I guess this is a brand new character that they made to, like,
yeah, everyone in that trailer, except for Yuffie, is new.
Well, no, the blonde guy that apparently gets chased is from Dirge of Cerberus.
Oh, everyone remembers him.
Whis or something like that, Whis. So, there's that. That being said, that wasn't only Final Fantasy stuff that they announced. They also announced the first Soldier, which is a mobile battle royale game set in Midgar before the events of Final Fantasy VII. Well, I don't know why you're making a battle royale that's mobile only, but cool. I guess because it's cheaper to do. But
I'm good.
I don't know. Yeah.
I have a new tablet that I could play this with, but I'm all right.
I have to say this. I was saying this earlier. You guys know what my typing is like, fat fingering iPhone. So, do I really want to control a battle royale game that way?
Well, I mean, you could connect your controller to it.
That's what Randy said. This is what I was saying earlier. That's insane. That's insane.
I mean,
I could connect a controller to my iPhone to play a Final Fantasy Battle Royale game, or I could install Linux on my PS3 to rip SACDs, but I'm not going to do either of those things because it's too much goddamn trouble.
I don't know. I got one of those things that costs $15.
I mean, your PS4 controller can hook up to your iPhone, but
I'll just go, they're mobile games. So
I mean, that's the bigger
they're
point.
completely out of my radar.
Well, I would say that first of all, you gotta make sure you have a phone that has Android 10, or your PS4 controller will not be able to hook up to it.
I've got an iPhone. I don't really know what the situation is because I've not looked into it because I do not play games on my phone.
Yeah, you don't care. And
well, but I would say that you can also buy that $15 like little thing that you can put your phone into, and that makes it a lot easier to play games on your phone. Yeah. I do that with to play xCloud, and it's great. So,
okay. I mean, I know there's some good games on there. It's just Ever Crisis. Like they need to just Vita version or get the fuck out.
Well, there's not gonna be a Vita version. It'll be on the Switch. It should come to PCs as well. At some point.
And there's no reason why I'd put it in the consoles. I mean, just as a $20 game or something.
It'll come to PC as it's going to be free to play, I assume.
Well, I think it's also going to be very much like the Kingdom Hearts, like that Union Code, whatever that just got, that Nomura went and said that they're almost done with it, except the Dark Road timelines that keep going. This is not going to happen. It's chapter structured. So it's like the Final Fantasy Pocket Edition thing. It's not going to just come out all at once. It's going to be over time because it's going to encompass the entire 7 timeline with all the compilation titles. So who knows how long that's going to take? If the Kingdom Hearts thing took that long, imagine.
There is the other Final Fantasy game that Jens and I also don't care about.
So, what is that?
That Ever Crisis thing.
Yeah, I care about it. I like it. I'm not going to go back and play all those old games, so.
I'd play it if it came to consoles, as I said. Like, let me spend $20-$30 and just buy it outright as a PS5 game.
Well, I think it definitely can, but you got to wait till it's all out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whenever that is. If that's like a year or two from now.
Yeah, I've got enough to play.
Just give me a reasonably upscaled port of Crisis Core, and I'll be happy. I don't need this mobile bullshit.
Yeah, I just wonder why they wouldn't. I mean, obviously that takes development time, and they've got to find I mean, I don't know if Sony would want to use Bluepoint for something like that, but it's like
for Crisis Core.
Yeah.
No, they can. They already have a PSP emulator. I mean, that's what Lumines is based on, and Karaka the Rapper. Like,
I know, but I mean, do it better with. I mean, this is Square we're talking about. You don't like what you did with what's the game? Type 0 was fine for back then, right?
It actually is not. Like, people don't like that core of that game.
What I'm saying is, you don't want to do that with Crisis Core. I mean, like, this is a part of that 7 lore. It's with Zack, who you made now you've made a big deal about with the ending and all the other mentions of him in that game. Like, you can't just kind of half-ass port it. You gotta really do a job with that. So, I mean, do they want to do that? I don't know. That's another studio or more development time that's got to be spent on that. And they've already got 16 going and this thing going. And how many ways can they branch out? And they got 14. I mean,
and they got that snowboarding mini game, that snowboarding cell phone game. Can't forget that. That'll be in this stupid roundup thing they're doing also.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And now they're doing Ever Crisis and this Battle Royale thing. So, and they still got Dissidia going around. So it's like, how many branches are you gonna have for this? I just think they run out at some point where they can't just placate to everyone.
No, they're basically trying to squeeze blood out of the rock, but it's like, stop it. Like, please.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it feels like. I think I heard someone mention that, like, Dirge of Cerberus has so many, like, issues why they couldn't bring that up. Like, so, I don't know, maybe they feel like they can't do one without the other. Like, they would have to bring all of those games to PS5, and they don't want to do that, so they just did it this way. So you can still get the story of all those games, but they don't have to give you the full frickin' games. Or maybe they want to test this to see if they can get people to really latch on to Ever Crisis, then maybe they'll think about it. I don't know. I just feel like now the way they've structured Final Fantasy VII Remake, they will never run out of shit to be doing.
I'm happy that you're excited. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just saying, you know, whether they make it or not, it's cool that they're at least giving us the story part. So, I think it'll come to Switch, it'll come to PC, but when it's done. There's no point of releasing that stuff by chapter on consoles. It's kind of silly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Final Fantasy VII Remake brought a lot of joy, brought a lot of confusion, and brought a lot of people being angry. Seems like regular Square sometimes really. Again, just to make a point, like, listen, we can all be upset at the fact that this DLC is not coming to PS4 and all that stuff, but it's like, you don't have to play it when it comes out. Also,
I'll play it in a year or two when it
you can play it later. Like, I know everybody wants to play that thing immediately. You want to play as Yuffie, all that stuff. It's like, listen.
Well, this is like my argument about Cyberpunk, is if you just wait, it'll eventually be good.
I mean, Cyberpunk's different though. Like,
if they ever get their computers back working.
They didn't even make the promise of releasing the patch when they were supposed to. It's going to be
true.
March.
They are behind.
And, like, they haven't released the February patch. My thing is, Cyberpunk is just a whole fiasco that's not even the same thing. It's like, it's more of just...
How is this not a fiasco? These games coming to mobile only.
But the whole games are not coming to mobile only. They're making them, like, mobile-ized because it's a lot cheaper to do than bringing PSP, PS2 game, and there's other ones that I can't think of right this minute. The movie, which you're not going to make into a game, and what's the other freaking game? There's some other game that is included in that.
There's at least I think there's 2 PSP games, and there's like a few different Final Fantasy VII mobile games. Yeah,
it's like, it's way too much shit to bring into a collection to put it on PS5 and PS4 or whatever. It's like, so, but again, sometimes we just need to learn the waiting game is alright. We still haven't gotten to June. We have no idea if they're gonna, maybe all this complaining is gonna make them do something. You know? Just wait. But yeah, moving on, from that. Those are the two, like, I guess, major things from this, like, recently. But like I said, there's been a lot of news to go through. But just so, this is our last little stop before we get to talking about this. And just because, hey, we're going to talk about something Amazon related, let's get this out of the way. Amazon Luna, which thankfully, Mark putting the story into the doc, and he realized that I had forgotten to cancel the free trial of Luna, so I got charged for it. It's only, $6, $7, so it's not...
Yeah, I think it's $6.99.
Yeah, not too terrible, but still, it's $7 that I don't know if I'm gonna mess with the service again, so they just got a free $7 from me, but that's just how all these streaming services work. They hope that you do that exact thing you forget. But the boss of Amazon Luna, Mark Whitten, who used to be involved with Xbox, was their VP of Entertainment Devices and Services, and he quietly left this month to become the Senior Vice President and General Manager at Unity. Unity's getting some major players, Peter Moore, and now Mark Whitten. Seems like Buddy's trying to go in with the buddies, but...
I mean, it's because John Riccitiello is the CEO, so...
Well, yeah, and then you get Peter Moore, and then Peter Moore also worked with Mark Whitten at Xbox, so, that also helps. But, I mean...
This doesn't exactly paint a rosy picture for Luna at the moment.
I know, but this almost feels like the whole, like, every time somebody makes a big deal, I mean, obviously, it's something to talk about, but every time somebody makes a deal about, like, Halo losing somebody, or, like, I don't know that we're really gonna know if this means something or not.
Well, I didn't put it in the doc, but that the initiative guy, the Halo guy, he just left last week or whatever.
Well, he left because of family reasons.
No, but now he's he's an Insomniac.
Yeah, well.
It's that's, what family issue? Or it's
I mean, what's sad is he got a lot of people to defend him over people people were doing the whole console war thing about, which again, this is shitty and people should not be doing this stuff. This is when that console warring crap goes way too far. But regardless, it's now it makes you wonder, did that really happen? Or were you just trying to use that as an out to get out of being on that team? Or what the heck, So, but since we talked about something with Amazon, there's another thing called Amazon Music Unlimited. Jens. I know that, you have been using Amazon Music Unlimited a lot.
I have indeed. I like to use it as kind of a discovery tool because they have a very nice back library of orchestral music that I enjoy. I was listening today to Peter Boyer, who's a contemporary composer, and his Symphony No. 1, and that was a nice little thing on here. So yeah, it's a good service as far as the selection is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, and then there is gaming-related soundtracks. The FFVII Remake soundtrack is on there. Persona 5.
Oh, of course. I'm just saying, I'm not all about just video game soundtracks.
Oh, I mean, I'm not.
But yes.
I was listening to some Garth Brooks earlier, some Bruno Mars, some...
There's something for everyone.
Yeah, there is. I mean, you could say that it... I already have a music service. But, I mean, we're offering you here 30 days for free if you go and support us by using our link that for some reason I can't find this minute.
It is getamazonmusic.com/W2M network.
There you go, Jens. See? You helped me out there. Mark?
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to be using this...
So, yeah, it makes me happy.
That's the important part. Find something that makes you happy. And get to listen to it. And the cool thing is they have different tiers as well. So if you use your Amazon Echo or your Fire TV as your music thing in your house, where you use Alexa. We have an Alexa thing, but it's really old. So I don't know if the Amazon Unlimited thing would work on it. But paying $3.99 for that is not too bad. So for just the one device. But $9.99 a month for just one person as well. Pretty standard rate. But if you try out our 30-day free trial and want to keep it, that's what it'll cost you. Hey, at least just help us out. But alright, moving on to the news. that is not an actual, like, direct or state-of-play related thing, man, Anthem finally got the notice. It finally got the pink slip. No, God, terrible for the people that actually worked on that game. Terrible for the people that, like, now have to maybe go find... Now, most of them are getting shifted over to the Dragon's Age team, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's only like a 30-man team working on Anthem.
The positive benefit of this, though, is that Dragon Age 4 multiplayer has also been scrapped. I think as a result of them refocusing.
I think also Jedi Fallen Order showing that you can have
That's the official line, right? The Jedi Fallen Order kind of changed EA's mind about single player again.
Sometimes
they keep
you need
shuffling.
that inspiration, though, right?
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It seems to me like the fact, Anthem's failure, the failure of Next to come together, I think they really kind of lost faith in multiplayer.
I hope so. I hope if they ever make another Need for Speed game, I hope it's like single player focused only, or have multiplayer races, but you don't need some like interconnected world they kept trying to make like last generation.
Oh, you mean EA in general? No, I think Need for Speed games will still be multiplayer focused. But in the case of Anthem and Dragon Age 4, I feel like nothing of value was lost.
I mean, they're like, well, you played it, Mark. I mean,
we both
played and beat Anthem.
Anthem was my most played game that year in terms of hours.
So, like, you didn't like anything about the gameplay at all?
Like, the flying
despise it with a fiery passion.
I thought, like, the basic gameplay was fun, like, okay enough.
If the technical performance had not also been so shaky, and just generally, it feels... It just felt...
No content. Or,
Yeah.
The story was bad. Like, the whole social space aspect is terrible. Just, like, problem after problem after problem. And, like, they just never they never even bothered to fix it, really. Even, like, the whole roadmap to success or whatever garbage they always have.
I think that it had cool ideas as far as the mechanics. Like, I like the jetpacking around and...
That's what I meant. Like, the flying was cool. The shooting was okay, I thought. I mean...
the shooting, to me, it felt like Mass Effect Andromeda shooting. Some people like that kind of squishy...
Yeah. Well,
anyway, it was a terrible game. And we've talked at multiple times in past episodes about how I had zero faith in Next ever happening.
Yeah, likewise. Especially like once Casey Hudson left, it's like we get because he was like the main proponent of the game, so it's like, well, he's gone. So
yeah, it's not great. So I mean,
sorry,
but like you said, like Dragon Age 4 having no multiplayer. Win-win, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, they should focus on this being Dragon Age 4 and not, like, trying to shoehorn things into
I thought it was funny a few weeks ago when they announced Mass Effect Legend, that legendary thing, when they said, like, oh, we're sorry, we can't get multiplayer in Mass Effect 3. It's like, don't feel sorry. We should be thanking you for not putting that in this thing. Like,
yeah.
I'm completely cool you left that out. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's good. Like, if EA can go use that further and do more of the Sony thing of, if we're going to make our single-player games, they're single-player games. The multiplayer's there, right? But they're not, like, what happened with Ghost of Tsushima, it was brought out later. Right? Yeah. And, like, Uncharted had its thing, but none of it was, oh my god, you have to play this in order to get through parts of it. Yeah.
More multiplayer shooters. That's why I endure the writing in Borderlands, is because it's a multiplayer shooter and it's something to do.
Yeah, but at least that one you can just mute the volume.
That's true. That's why I played Destiny. That's why I played Anthem. Right. The problem is not that the fact that it's a multiplayer game, or even that you're telling a story in a multiplayer context. It's just that BioWare were really bad at it.
Well, but that's not their strength. Yeah, but that's the whole point. Is it's not their strength. Like,
yes.
Let them do what they're best at, and find you a studio that would be better for that.
This has been my argument with EA's under PopCap. Like, PopCap used to make kind of like light puzzle games, or light, simple games. They don't trying to turn Plants vs Zombies into a team-based, shooter is like bananas.
Yeah, I mean, well, technically, it's because Garden Warfare, the Plants vs Zombies 2. Did well, so that made them like, oh, let's just turn this into a whole whatever, and they lost sight of it. Which happens a lot when something is popular. Sometimes you don't follow that. But I mean, just to stick with the Bioware thing.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill teased a possible Mass Effect.
Oh snap! Is Henry Cavill going to be Shepard?
Yeah,
I'll be Garrus.
Perhaps the,
he's going to be every important video game protagonist eventually.
Why not?
Can we get him as Solid Snake?
No, because Oscar Isaac is already Solid Snake.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And would you guys want to see a Mass Effect, say Netflix series, or?
I could see it being all right. It's a good world. You can tell all sorts of stories in that world.
I think it'd be interesting. Cause, I mean, some of the characters are like real people, or likenesses of real actors, and some aren't. So it'd be cool if they could get like Yvonne Strahovski or
Martin Sheen.
Yeah, Martin Sheen. Thanks. As they're actual characters.
It would be cool. I would like to see Yvonne Strahovski in that. But
I mean, I could see her in anything. So
true. I would prefer though for this to be like not the main Reaper storyline.
Right. Keep David in there.
If it was just. That's the question. That's why I asked if he was Shepard. Is this the story of Shepard, or is this, like the Tales of Mass Effect,
Yeah.
I mean, let's see if it even happens, right? Like, it could just be him.
Yeah, I mean, Avi Arad was talking about making like a Mass Effect movie like a decade ago, and that went nowhere, so.
Yeah.
Well.
On to another sci-fi video game TV show. Oh,
yeah. Halo.
Yep. Well, let's leave that for later, because it's not like we really know any more about it. There's some things in here that I'm just going to shoot through at the end. Because we talked about one thing closing.
Oh no!
This is one that makes me sad, because there were some games that I really liked from Sony Japan Studio, and this is sometimes the danger when something gets popular. Look, I loved Astro's Playroom. I loved Astrobot Rescue Mission. I was one of the ones that said, man, it'd be cool if we could get like a bigger version of Astro. Sony apparently has decided to do the same thing. And they've wound down Japan Studio and now kind of merged them with, Team, Asobi. I don't know which way, you say that, but, when also, like, Kiichiro Toyama left the studio as well last year, I think there was gonna be some things on the wall, there. Astro's Playroom, I think, helped give them a direction to put them in, right? Which is good.
I mean, no disrespect to Astro's Playroom or the other one, but, like, those are pretty bog standard platformers. Like, they have some gimmicks in the levels, but they're not, like, inventive or, like, super out there like Japan Studios games are or were.
They're great showcases for what they're on, right? Like, they're a great showcase for VR, and they're a great showcase for the DualSense controller.
Yeah, but the actual gameplay is like a half step above a Croc, or, I would say less than like Banjo-Kazooie.
Damn.
I mean, it's not an insult. Both those Astros games are very simple platformers that only, like, they exist, or they do well because, like, they have gimmicks and levels, but they are gimmicks. They aren't, like, full realized concepts.
As simple as the platform. I mean, I think it's realized enough, and it just feels really nice. Mechanically, I feel it's fully realized. And obviously, there could be more content.
Yeah, but, like, compare, like, an Astro's Playroom to, like, Trash Panic or Jumping Flash. Mm-hmm. Or Africa. I mean, hell, you have that game. Like,
I do, but I was only counting the ones that Sony Japan developed themselves. I mean, that was Rhino Studios. Because otherwise, I would say Demon's Souls, because that's got Sony Japan's name on it.
Yeah, but Hardpoint, did that,
Oh, I don't mean Bluepoint. Even the one that From developed is From Software and Sony Japan Studios. So same situation as Africa.
I mean, they did Knack, they did Trash Panic, they did
Echochrome. Dude, Echochrome 2.
Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus,
Puppeteer.
Shadow's not them. Shadow's Team Ico.
Yeah, Team Ico with Sony Japan.
Yeah, but they're part of with Sony Japan, yeah. And Last Guardian.
But I just mean, like,
Gravity
Japan
Rush.
Studio, they are. I mean, they're not explicitly known, but they are more known for creating inventive games. And I like, this is depressing.
I mean, Ape Escape is, they hit it with Ape Escape and then, kept having certain ones. I mean, it's like, Legend of Dragoon is one of my, like, a game that I liked, so, like...
Was that them?
They're with the studio that...
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's developed by Japan Studio.
Yep, and the Siren games, we can't forget those.
Siren games, which are great. Well, some of them. But, like,
I mean, I like Blood Curse, actually. I think Blood Curse is underrated.
Loco Roco, Patapon, which, a certain person loves a lot. So, I mean... Man, I know I agree with you, Mark, in that, like, they always come up with something weird. Right? It was maybe something a little weird, but it was like, oh man, it's Sony Japan Studio. It's them. So it kind of sucks that a lot of these games are, unfortunately, like, they're not, super major sellers, right? Outside of a few. So, I mean, Knack has this cult following, so does Gravity Rush, so does,
those two, Gravity Rush 2 is...
Well, Gravity Rush is a good franchise. Knack is not, but...
Yeah. I mean, people still want Ape Escape, like, remade or whatever on right now. It's like, it's funny to think about just all the games that they've, like, been involved in, say.
Yeah. It's sad we'll probably likely never see the Tokyo Jungle remaster we've been craving.
That and Trash Panic, like I said.
Yeah.
And so, I hope this means that we are going to get more Astro stuff, but kind of like what we talked about with Vicarious Visions, I feel like we are going to at some point miss what Japan Studio brought.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I feel that way about, like, Sega used to have a lot more studios that were, like, crazy, but they're all kind of gone. Like, what happened to the team who made, like, Crazy Taxi?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, Sega started having to, like, downsize because you're having all these studios and what they're putting out is doing, like, nothing. So, you have to start, I guess, picking and choosing what you're gonna do, Sonic, Yakuza,
You can drop Sonic. I'd be cool with that.
They're not gonna drop Sonic.
Just make more Yakuza and Persona, please. And then
right, like, and you have Atlas doing their thing, so it's like you don't need these crazy studios doing. And then you got the Puyo Puyo people, and one of the things that basically kind of got overshadowed a little bit with all this, like, State of Play Direct and everything else. Jim Ryan went on a GQ and talked about the PSVR 2. And that it's going to be a single cord. It's not wireless yet. Haven't gotten to that point, but it's single cord.
Pass.
So, I'm happy that it's single cord because, my God, that jumble of a mess that was the
PSVR had like 4 cables attached to it.
I mean, at least they made it to where you could easily figure out how to assemble it. But geez, it was a pain in the butt to look at. Like, it was just like an eyesore. Like, my God. Like, why would you want this box of cables going everywhere? I mean, at least they made it to where you could technically still have it hooked up and use your PS4. But it was like, man, no thank you.
Yeah.
At least now it's like easier to use.
I won't get one because, I already have the Quest, so I'm pretty set with that.
Yeah.
And that is wireless, so that's cool. But hey, if they make good games for it, mazel tov.
I mean, there's people that really love their PSVRs, man. So, like, if they can get a better game library for this,
yeah,
and get more people on it, then cool. I still think that until you get the PSVR wireless, which may not happen until a PSVR 3 or 4.
Exactly.
You're not going to get mass adoption of this thing because having to be tethered while you're in a headset is... I mean, yeah, they've made it to where a lot of those games you can play sitting down, but...
Wasn't the PSVR like the best selling of those headsets, or no?
No,
Vive, right?
Well,
I don't think it's the best selling. I think it's like the second or third, but still, it's up there, right?
Yeah, the Vive outsold it now, but like at one point, I think it was like the most popular one.
Right, because it's the cheapest one.
Well, it's also because it's cheaper to buy that thing and to have a PS4 than to buy a VR ready, computer.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's another thing too. But I mean, the difference if you have the capability is night and day as well. Like, right? Like you would say,
I can attest to that.
Yeah, the Oculus is way better than the PSVR setup. I mean, I think this is good that they're getting to do this, right? Like that they're continuing with this and that they believe in it. So, and I think one thing that came out of this as well is that they're not so crazy about, oh my God, our games have to be on PSVR only. We're okay with maybe some of these games going to these other VR peripherals. And that goes along with they're now happy and okay with PC games, apparently. Because they have figured out that it costs a lot to develop games. What do you know, Jim Ryan? Thank you for figuring that out now. And apparently PS4 games are going to start, they're going to start with older PS4 games, obviously. And then we'll see where that goes at some point.
Has there been any outrage about...
Oh my God, there was so much outrage about this thing.
Really? It's just like with Horizon, huh?
No, yeah, it was, oh my God, you've abandoned us now. You're going to be just like Microsoft. Like, not going to have exclusives. What's the point of buying a PS5? Like,
it's older crap, first of all, and it's also advertising for the next game.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like, the point is PC and the consoles don't compete against each other. This is stupid. Like, you know how much it costs to buy a PC that can actually run these games and then keep running them for the amount of time that you're going to have your PS5? Like, a hell of a lot of money.
The funny thing is also, at least when it launched, Horizon Zero Dawn, like, ran like crap on the computer.
Yeah, like, it's just, I'm just saying, like, people that get so crazy about, oh my God, it's leaving my console. Holy crap, my whole identity is gone. Like, people, like, examine your life at some point. Like,
they have no lives.
If, like, Sony having an exclusive and then it goes to PC makes you feel that bad, come on, man. Like,
stick with Nintendo.
Like, well, yeah, or go to, but it's just like, I just don't get this. Like, it's the same thing with the Microsoft thing with PC. It's like, does everybody really have a PC that can play all these games? No, you don't. You just like to talk shit. It's like, most people don't have PCs that are going to be able to, maybe you can play the games now, but in a couple years you won't. You have to pay an upgrade. You have to buy a bunch of shit that costs more than buying the PS5 or the whatever.
It's just the tribal mentality. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Like, just get over it or just ignore it, really.
I mean, Days Gone's going to be the next game that goes to PC. So, Mark will not care.
I think they officially announced that, but I think that was like leaked like a long time ago. Like,
well, yeah, but I mean,
someone found like some Steam. Yeah, someone found some Steam page, database that like listed it. Like, all right.
I mean, it's already on that PS Plus collection, so like, what more money are they going to make from that? But they stand to make more money on PC for, like, say, God of War showing up on there, or
I think the super exclusive games will keep off there. Like, I don't think we're ever going to see God of War or Ratchet and Clank on there.
I think so. I think they're going to start picking and choosing. But I mean, at this point, like, why not? You're going to make more money. And this is just money in your pocket, right? I mean, it's put all those. I mean, I don't think we're going to see day and date like Microsoft. I think you're at least going to get 6 months down the line.
I think more than that. I mean, Days Gone.
I think the gap is going to start closing on those. I don't think they're always going to wait a couple of years. Like, and again, like, I think it just depends on the adoption. If they see a ton of adoption, then maybe they start lowering that gap.
So that's the thing. Some companies don't want to do that, regardless of what money is involved.
Yeah.
Look at Persona 5 on Switch. Is there a version out there?
Well,
no.
We still don't know if there's a Sony exclusive deal that they're never gonna reveal. And we just don't know.
Well, look at any of the other Shin Megami Tensei games.
The other Shin Megami Tensei games they're gonna bring one of them to the Switch. I mean, but that's because they have a deal with Nintendo too. Like, it's just, I mean, there's things that have showed up on Xbox that nobody ever thought would be on Xbox. It's like, I just think that at some point, like, I'm not saying we're ever going to get day and date, but I do think that at some point the gap will be lowered. And I still think 6 months is that's a lot. Like, you're going to wait the whole half the year to play this one game? Like, I don't know. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah, this is a good Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PC.
Yeah, you're still waiting. It's still not there. So, and as long as they keep making DLC yearly or bi-yearly or however many they're going to make of this thing, when will it come? Do you have to wait for part 2 to show up before you get the part 1 on the other consoles? I mean, that's going to be interesting. I don't know. I feel like Jim Ryan's telling you something there. They finally figured out that maybe we don't have to be so sheltered.
Yeah, but he's also telling you if you still care about old games, you're screwed.
Well, that too. But, that's two different philosophies. Microsoft's trying to figure out how they can put more old games on their console, and Sony's trying to do other stuff. So, okay, so there's a bunch of stuff on here that we can just, go through quickly. We don't have to. Please. Yeah, we don't have to, talk about this a ton.
Sleep.
Yeah, cause I gotta get up at 8 a.m. to work.
Oh.
So, Halo's gonna be on Paramount Plus when that shows up in first quarter 2022. Of course, that's a TV show, by the way. So it could still get delayed, obviously, but, yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Weird. I mean, I didn't expect to see a trailer, but it's weird that it had, no image of, the guy in the suit. Or, nothing is,
Yep.
I'm not going to show Master Chief. I mean, we know what Master Chief looks like.
Just a teaser image or something. When they have this announcement, sure, why not? Or have him holding the helmet.
We didn't get anything for PSVR 2. It's not everything's going to have a.
Yeah, PSVR 2 is they are literally in the planning stages of that. They've been working on this Halo thing for a while, and they've been filming it. It's not
I don't know. Maybe they just they're waiting for a certain date when they want to reveal stuff for this thing. I don't know.
So what's more? You're saying this is less vaporware than Vampire Bloodlines 2?
We should have a bet which is going to come out first: Bloodlines 2 or Dead Island 2.
Oh, or Halo, the TV show.
No, I mean Halo
will come out.
2.
You think so? They've been talking about a Halo series for so long.
Yeah, but they have a cast and they've been shooting it for a while now. That's what I'm saying.
And they have a reason to have it really come out because they're really trying to promote this Paramount Plus thing.
Okay, fair enough.
Which, to be fair, Paramount Plus has got other stuff that could help promote it as well. But I'm just saying, this Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines thing is something else. Hardsuit Labs is now no longer going to be developing it, so they're back at maybe not square one, but they're back at trying to find a developer for this. So who knows if they're gonna just scrap it entirely, or what are you doing here? Not great.
Yeah.
And then they're delaying it till next year, obviously, because now you don't have a developer.
Now you can't pre-order it either, which I think is funny.
It's very weird how they're insisting that they're still developing it.
Yeah. Well, and maybe it's one of those they're going to do a Nintendo and figure out, they find a developer and then be like, okay, we're just going to retool this entire thing. It's going to take longer.
Or what they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, CyberConnect 2.
Yeah, that too. I guess Paradox could decide to develop internally, but we'll see. Tony Hawk 1 and 2 is coming to Switch, PS5, Xbox Series X, March 26th for the current gen console version of Switch at some point next year. Mark loved that game, so.
Yeah, but it's $10 and I don't want to pay that.
Yeah, there's the Activision tax.
Yeah, that's not warranted at all.
Square's doing that similar thing, so. See, the big publishers I said it, big publishers are going to do their own thing when it comes to these upgrades. No,
Square, they're making you pay for the DLC. The actual,
that's worth
upgrade
it,
is free.
Yeah, the upgrade's free, but I think they also, I love how they didn't say anything about Crash's upgrade. I'm guessing that is gonna...
That's $10.
Yeah, that's Activision wanting to do their thing, man.
Yeah.
They're making people that have to pay for the PS5 version, whatever, you still have to buy the PS4 version or you have to buy the PS5 version outright, so I guess you're still paying a little bit there. But still, this is just weird with Activision, Why? Why do you have to do this? Like, everybody else is doing it free. You got to do something different. And you're like, we're going to charge $10. Cool, man. Just, speaking of Activision, they're now pissing off everybody that is worried about their storage because between Modern Warfare, Warzone, and Black Ops Cold War, with everything installed, it's going to soon surpass the 500 gigabytes that's on the PlayStation 5.
Yep.
I mean,
have fun with those low hard drive spaces.
Well, I mean, it's just like, this is the only game you play. Get ready, because you're going to have to buy an external drive or something. You're going to have to buy whenever that comes out, because they don't even have a storage thing right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Sony announced today, like, they are going to start opening up like SSD stuff on the PS5 later this year. Like, I think it's this summer.
And I guess that's one thing, right? Activision releases this information, and then, oh, lo and behold, one of our biggest games is not going to fit on our damn console. Let's figure out something. I don't know, guys. Twisted Metal is getting a TV show. Yeah. I mean, at least it's going to be an action comedy, so there's that. And the writers of Deadpool and Zombieland are going to work on it. Sounds promising. Maybe. Anyone? I don't care about Twisted Metal, but... Alright, so anyone on this Twisted Metal TV show, go for it.
I hate it with a fiery passion.
Tell
no,
us
like...
more, Mark.
At least the Deadpool the Deadpool writers are on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, Deadpool 1 is good, but Deadpool 2 was not. So
are these the Deadpool 1 or the Deadpool 2 writers?
They did both of them.
Okay, well then it's a wash.
But they also did Zombieland 1 and 2.
That was fine.
Well,
Then
I love
okay.
Zombieland, so.
Then it's 2 for 3.
Will this actually get made? It's the thing.
No, hopefully not.
It'd be too expensive, I think. And there's not enough Twisted Metal story, or canon.
I mean, it's like, this seems like something you could just make a movie and be done
Paul
with it.
W.S. Anderson's Twisted Metal would make sense.
Oh, Lord.
More sense than this.
Stop it, yeah.
No, but I'm serious. Like, this Twisted Metal is the perfect kind of bullshit premise to just, like, wring a 90-minute piece, like a Death Race 2000 out of, basically. Just with that iconic clown character, Sweet Tooth, at the helm. And have it barely resemble the game. Just have it be like a generic Destruction Derby, B-movie.
I have more faith in the Peacock-made Frogger game show than this thing.
What, is that real?
Yeah, Peacock announced a Frogger obstacle course game show.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
So what makes it Frogger?
Presumably you have to, get across,
the course will be inspired by Frogger, the top down.
So, there'll be stuff running across and you're gonna
have to dodge it.
Maybe you have to dodge Twisted Metal cars.
The question is whether they make you ribbit.
Or eat flies.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I kind of like the gameplay in Twisted Metal. I've never liked the aesthetic or the mascot. And obviously I'm not big on David Chaffee as a person.
No,
so I'm just vehemently against this project as a whole.
The only way, it has a Deadpool writers attached, but the only way I would actually be interested in this is if Charlie Brooker was writing it as well. Because all the Twisted Metal stories are basically like this, damaged person, and they get their greatest wish, and they get fucked over in the end.
Sure, yeah.
So if he was writing it, it'd be pretty funny, probably.
Or what if you get Jonathan Nolan and you meant to class it up?
Yeah, because Westworld's not going to come back for a while, so why not?
I mean, it's about as non sequitur.
Yeah.
But it'll never happen. I just think it's too expensive and just not enough material there to support it.
Well, okay. Those guys could probably write some halfway decent jokes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to tell you about the cast of this. There's potential there because you have a contest and an ensemble cast, and somebody could make something of it.
Ryan Reynolds is Sweet Tooth. Let's go.
He doesn't have other things to do, but yeah, sure. Why not?
He kind of doesn't.
Look at that. I feel like that Mortal Kombat trailer, sure version of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, except for the main dude.
Yeah, except for the fanfiction insert main character. That's just a a love letter reference back to the Resident Evil series.
That guy, he'll just be like, the end of it, like, oh, my nickname in college used to be Johnny Cage.
What the? It's crazy that Sony has been wanting to be the ones to develop this thing. So, yeah, I mean, I guess they're serious about that initiative of, we're going to try to get our games into TV shows and...
You haven't told us yet, Sean, what are you most looking forward to seeing depicted on the golden age of television screen? From Twisted Metal, I mean.
I don't give a fly. Like, Twisted Metal has never been a series that I cared one iota about, so...
You were more of a Vigilante 8 guy, weren't you?
I did play Vigilante 8.
You and the Big Show.
Where is my Carmageddon TV show?
Mark's waiting for the WWE Crush Hour TV show.
That or Road Trip. Road Trip is pretty fun.
So, yeah. Hey, Life is Strange might get some new games, so.
Sure.
And Switch is getting the ports of at least the first game.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm surprised that they waited this long for a Switch to get
I'm not, because, those games have, adult content in them.
Oh, come on, man. Have you seen some of the stuff that's on the Switch? You kidding me? They have that freaking Senran Kagura thing that's, basically there for you. It doesn't matter, though. I mean, it's still...
Life is Strange has gay stuff in it.
But that doesn't matter. Okay.
And suicides.
Mark, the women of Senran Kagura also love each other in their own way.
Is there also rape and drug abuse in them?
No, but I get it. But Nintendo has a lot of stuff that they don't censor.
I can't say I don't think I've ever gotten the true ending.
They have Doom and frickin' Wolfenstein on there. I mean,
that's just violence. That's cartoony, but I'm just saying,
violence. I wouldn't say it's cartoony, but
it's ripping the eyeball in half. That's cartoony. Trust me.
I'm just saying they've allowed some weird. I guess if it's Japanese, it's fine. But if it's American, if somebody else made it and it has some adult themes, that's a reason why you're not.
Even the Japanese games, they will tone down. I mean, they toned down our beloved Xenoblade. They toned down Tokyo Mirage Sessions as far as the sexual nature of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes kind of sense.
So they are sensitive to it, but I don't know how sensitive they are to gay themes. I mean, that seems to be something that...
I'm not just saying gay themes.
You'll see it even you see it in Disney stuff now. Companies are trying to be more woke about these things, so why would Nintendo have a problem with that?
Again, not just gay themes, but rape, murder, drugging women. I mean, I guess I haven't got all 100 stars in Bowser's Fury, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to end with a rape joke. Rape scene.
Well...
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough.
But to be fair, though, that stuff's also not hard to find for those characters. If you want your own canon ending for Bowser's Fury, it's only a Google search away.
Yeah, it's all about Bowser.
But as long as they're not selling it on their console, it isn't really...
True. But it is on everybody's mind, apparently, during these Nintendo games. So as Nintendo struggles to make things as family-friendly as possible and their fans won't have it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean...
Might as well give in. Is Life is Strange really that shocking? Sean, you've played it, right?
No, I have not played it.
Okay.
I played a little bit, and I didn't get very far.
I can't hack on the second one, but the first one can get very dark.
Okay.
Depending on what the choices, that's the whole thing.
I mean, Deadly Premonition 2 got pretty dark at times, and that's on the Switch.
Yeah. Well...
I don't know.
That's more of a, hatred is also coming to the Switch, so...
No, what?
I guess. Yes.
Okay, you're joking around. Is hatred
No,
not...
I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Hatred is coming to the Switch.
Wait, you said, are you kidding? You're not kidding.
I'm not kidding. It was announced last year that Hatred was coming to the Switch.
Wasn't Hatred the weirdly
it's a Sin City,
controversial genocide
game.
Crusade game?
Yeah, I reviewed it.
The anti-political correctness game? You reviewed it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's postal with the Sin City aesthetic, black and white.
And it's coming to the Switch?
Yeah. It's not sexual. It's just violence. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. As announced last year. It's a bad game. Even without like the whole like.
Here's the thing. I realized that they've revamped it from when it was first in. I don't know. Was it the announcement or was it early access or the controversy?
Was early access, and then they. Yeah, whatever.
So they revamped it some, but still, it's. You would think that Nintendo would not want to be associated with such a game.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think we did actually lose the ends now.
Yeah, I've disconnected just as you guys keep doing.
Okay, that's the sign that we need to kill this thing already before we disconnect and we lose everything. So if you guys have no idea, but it is 4:00 in the morning over here. On the East Coast. So, people listening, I mean. So, thank you for listening if you listened to everything. I appreciate that. We hope you like what you heard. If you did, you can always hit subscribe. And, of course, rate us and review us on whatever podcast listening service that you use. We are also on Amazon Music. So, even though you don't need the unlimited for that, but you can still listen to us on there as well if you get that unlimited thing. And listen to Jens and Randy talk about said Jedi, the part 2 and part 1 of Jedi Fallen Order. And what you have one more Resident Evil movie to do next week?
Yes. Yes, the final chapter.
I'm sure Randy is so happy he doesn't have to talk about that again.
But that's fine. We then are going on to Monster Hunters, so he's not out of the woods yet. But we've talked about doing some good movies once we're done with the Paul Thomas Anderson stuff. W.S. Anderson.
Well, didn't he do Mortal Kombat?
Yes, I'm waiting for. There's a steelbook release of Mortal Kombat about to happen.
It's next month, later in the month.
Yeah, so once that happens, then we'll do Mortal Kombat.
And it's only $15 for both of them, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Oh, yeah, we can do Annihilation as well. Yeah.
Good luck with that one.
At least as much as you HBO one by then.
As much as you don't like Mortal Kombat, Annihilation is 9 steps below it. It is barely a movie.
See, I had this similar reaction. You're telling me that I need to think back positively on Paul W. Anderson's work on Mortal Kombat relative to its sequel.
Yeah.
And I'm already looking at director Johannes Roberts' credits. He's the guy who's making the upcoming Resident Evil. Looking at his looking at his oeuvre, I'm thinking that I'm going to miss Paul W. Anderson.
God. Well, at least like you said, you're going to be doing some good ones.
Yes.
Soon. So
yeah, there'll be Warcraft, Bayonetta, the anime, that sort of thing.
But at least you're not afraid to do the bad stuff, Some people only want to talk about good things.
Well, it's very difficult with video game movies.
Because there are 2 good ones and the rest are crap.
Exactly. Randy's already saying, okay, we're never going to reach the heights of Ace Attorney again. There's never going to be another movie as good as that one.
Yeah. I mean...
What are you talking about, man? Double Dragon.
Oh, yes. I was actually just talking to somebody about Double Dragon early today. So, yeah. That movie that's the most 90s movie imaginable.
I think that's why I kind of like it, is it that nostalgia hit there?
Oh yeah, no, that'll actually be great. I remember that movie being terrible, but a complete delight.
Yep.
Well, then you can do the Mario movie at some point.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get to all the big stuff. It's just, we've decided to enter the dark realm.
Dark realm, yeah.
Of Resident Evil, so that has kept us entertained for about almost half a year. Are we still recording, by the way?
Yes, we are.
This is the return of the kings of podcasts. It keeps starting and stopping.
No, but Jens just did a long promotion for Chapter Select. But yeah, Mark has a review of Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury up there, along with Skull the Hero Slayer, so you should check both of those out. Randy did post his review of The Medium. He says he's coming along pretty quickly on Little Nightmares 2, so that should be up, and I'll definitely have the review of East 9 Monster Nox as well, and of course start on Bravely Default too. So yeah, and then Mark's working on that Persona Strikers. So yeah, until next week, everybody. See you later.
Later.